Okay, I don't know if it's starting up again, but it seemed YouTube got kicked off. So this, I'm starting part 2. It hasn't connected yet. I gotta go and get the chats so I can see them I'm streaming on Kick as well. So let me get that one out first. And usually by the time I get this one set up, YouTube has finally started streaming. So let me see here. If I go, it now says live. It says the stream is ended. Okay, end stream. Not yet. Okay, now I'm thinking that I'm on. I need to make us. Yep. Okay, that's this one. So now I pop this one out. And put it here so I can see this. Now that's the first time that has ever happened to me. And that is odd because I've been streaming for probably 2-3 months now. All right. I got to continue because I got kicked off from YouTube. So this is part 2. And I'm going through Psalms 110. And I was down here editing the text. And I just got done correcting this from nations to tribes. And then I went through this and I was describing this is what a king would do. He would drink from the streams by the wayside. The wayside would be roadsides, but this I don't think is going to be true because he'll fill them with corpse and he will shatter the chief men over a broad country. Now, this broad country does not exist. He would only have been taking over the promised land if they were thinking he was to be a conquering king coming to reestablish Jerusalem. But that means that they would know they had to go into captivity, which they did not know. So he would have been appointed as king or anointed as king the way they would think other kings would have been anointed. David had Solomon anointed with oil. I think it was Elijah that had Jehu anointed with oil, and he became king. So, but this could be true, but it would have to be our king our king at your right hand will not shatter but defeat their kings. Okay. In the days, in the day of, in the days, SPS, because he's not wrathful all the time. In the day of, this will be Jesus, his, not wrath, but anger. Anger. Argue, anger. Anger. How do I spell anger? And I hope it's going to tell me how. Anger? Where's... Okay, there we go. And it's anger. I don't have enough text to go with this. So what I've got up here, or what I've got, as a king, he would rule, so he's not going to be just judging. So I'm not going to use this verse at all. Now, what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to connect these. And I'm going to go down here and start again by cleaning up. And saying, okay, what I've got here is YV prophesied, so I got a period. My king will sit at his right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet forever. There's those two. And then it would have to be he, not YV, but, or here is where I would use maybe his name, Yah. So let me put this here and then go Yah. Now, I know this is just starting this video here, but it's actually in the last video I showed these verses here about Jesus, as their name is Yah for them, to them. So here, let me show you how a King Ezekiel of Judah was waiting for him, and he says, I will not see Yah in the land of the living. Yah is the name they gave for Jesus. Also in Psalm 149, we put Yah here, where they have the word Lord, is usually used for our Creator's name, but they decided to use Lord God for his name 48 more times. But when you look here and say the name of the God of Israel, what happens if I correct it and say the king from Israelis, or the king from Israel, the nation? So there is the name of the king for Israel, Yah. Praise Yah as we sing to YV a new song. The new song was about David being told that through his son's seed will be a king that will be into heaven, and that's why we go into heaven. So the thing here is that's the new song they're going to be singing, and then praise him in the congregation and rejoice in our King, and let them praise his name, Yah. See, it's tied with salvation. So I'm really pretty sure that that's the name that they gave Jesus in Hebrew, Yah. So I'm going to use the Hebrew pronunciation in English as his name and say Yah will, now this is capital, will now this is kind of odd because their kings didn't have a scepter. This is, the word scepter here is not true. So if I come over here, and what are they trying to do by sneaking that word in there? A strong scepter. Oh boy. Now this text is going to go bad. Okay. That I guess I gotta. Okay. I gotta shut that off. Because this thing here is now locking up on me. Ooh, that was a good sound. I hope that starts. I have that on a virtual machine because it won't operate with OBS unless it's on a Windows 10, and that program does not work unless it's Windows XP. So I haven't figured out how to get that program to work other than a virtual machine. That virtual machine does this a lot to me. Okay, it's restarting. Maybe that'll help that program. But until then, I can't really say that's a strong scepter. So yeah, I will. This has to be your spelled your this way. Not like that. It's that, and then it's Jesus. What happened was I went through and corrected the text because our creator is mentioned as you so many times. I did a default and I made them all that way, all capital, meaning our creator here. So you will stretch forward. From Jerusalem, not Zion. So Jerusalem is the correct word. Rule here, meaning Jesus, in the midst of your enemy. And they won't be in the midst of the enemy. If he's the king and he's ruling, he's not in the midst of the enemy. You got to understand the text as far as, or really the map location of the surrounding land. You got to understand to their west is the Mediterranean. To their east is a desert so big that there's nobody there for quite a while, and then there's ocean. They live along the top by the Euphrates River, but only about a 5-mile swath. And then it's Egypt because it's the Sinai, and then it's Egypt. Otherwise than that, the Sinai is pretty much desert with some mountains. So in the midst of your enemies, that's just wrong. That can't be truthful. Now the text is showing up over here. Okay, it's actually connecting. And I need to get to Psalm 110. Been a long time since I shut this program off and turned it back on. Maybe that's what's going on. I was looking for the word scepter. Oh boy. I'm hearing the rain thunder, and I know that all of a sudden I'm getting a warning again on YouTube. But not enough video to make smooth streaming such as view open widget. I got to open this up and read this. Sorry about this. It says stream status is poor. Okay, now when it does that, I have learned that I can go into settings here and output. I can bring down to 4,000, and maybe that will help the stream. Yeah, they give me a current rate is higher than recommended, and yet to Yahoo you can stream it a lot higher, like 10,000 bit. You can stream 4K, I understand. So now it's excellent. Okay, I lowered the bit rate, and it seems that it will be okay. So how do I get to analytics so I can see if another problem pops up? Okay, now I was here in clicking on scepter, and here's this word, and it's rod, staff, tribes, supply. This is the problem with them revealing the words they use, because you explain how a staff becomes tribes. It's used more as a tribes, but staff is actually 33 times. And a scepter only twice, rods more. So knowing that, coming back over here to the stream, you will stretch forth this. I added strong. You're strong. Your strength. If I put the word strength here, strength. This is Jesus. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Your strength from Jerusalem. It's a stretch forth. What is this? Is where two Hebrew words usually come into play. See, they use it as a double, and then they'll do like this. They'll say two different words, and they'll use it once. Go over once. And what I'm looking for is like how many times they use the word. It's go 60 times, let 52 times. So you will go forth is what I'm seeing as the correct word. So Yah will go forth. Not stretch forth, but go forth. Yah will go forth. I'm going to have to use with and not even use that word anymore. And I'm going to say I'm adding it with strength from Jerusalem. I'm going to have to use the word rule, change that to a black, change it that I added it. Now, to rule in their midst. How come Yahoo's popping up all over the place here? Okay, Yah will go forth with strength from Jerusalem to rule among us. I'm going to change the midst to among us. And then say I'm adding that word and that word. And then that will go forth with strength from Jerusalem to rule among us, to rule from among us. I'm going to have to put the word from in here. So put from among us. And it's got to be his people, not your people, but his people. His people will volunteer freely in the day this can't be right. People will volunteer because this is a comma and this is a period. So right now I'm saying that there's a verse missing here. And this, maybe this goes down. Does this connect? This is so far away from everything, though. This has to be out because there's not enough text connected with anything. And I'm going to, those words are so tied together, it's beautiful. Okay. But this, you are his priest. And I'm going to say I'm adding that, his priest forever. So this would be here, here, and here, like that. And this, because they're all his words, I got to put that up above. So I'm going to say move up and then grab this, make this 8 point, and then that's going to go here, say moved here, and I'm going to color that, and I'll make it yellow, come down here, move that over, make that yellow, easy to find. Okay. Now, this is going to be starting of the next group. This would have to be as our king. And then I'm adding this as our king at your right hand. He will defeat their kings in the day of his anger. So that is right. This is wrong. This is and then this, I can move this up by going like this, copying this, 8-point, and I can make this I think it's going to read better here like this. As your priest forever, as our king at your right hand, he will defeat their kings in the days of his anger. For Yah will go forth with strength from Jerusalem to rule from among us. And I'm going to have to add the word for. I can do this. Go here, put it here, and then do R, or Yah will go forth. But this is so different of a style of writing that I know that there's text missing here. And since these are gone, this is gone, this is going to connect, and this, yeah, it's the first verse missing here. So what I've got, I don't really like, except for the top part, but it's there. It's a 4-verse or 3-verse, and I need to clean this up. I don't think when I did my macro, I don't think I can get it to work with that straight line. So what I need to go is to here, just say that's out, that's moved now. And then this is the next one. So Wyvie prophesied, my king will sit at his right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet forever, until he makes. Now, if it's saying our Creator said it, he would say it in first person. Until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet forever. And Wyvie is, I got to use the word and. And Wyvie has sworn I'm going to have to put the word he here. Sounds better, reads better. He will not change his mind. You are his priest forever. Okay. Because understanding this, understanding he's allowing them into heaven to be forgiven to enter into heaven by assigning him as his priest forever. And I would have to say this part would be actually our Creator and is more responsible for Jesus to be able to forgive them to enter. But that's how I let you know that it's assigned by our Creator that Jesus is to do whatever word I put half like that. Yeah, these are two different pieces. There's such a different style of writing. And I don't even know who would write this text. This might be David, okay? These words might be David, but I've honestly got to put this as question mark. I don't know. Anybody could say this. There's no hint except my king. No. You are his priest forever. Would these come from a priest? My king will sit at his right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet forever. And why he has sworn he will not change his mind. You are his priest. Oh, I guess I'm going to put down the word priest just because the first one sounds like the priest. Our king at your right hand will defeat their kings in the day of his anger, for Yah will go forth with strength from Jerusalem to rule among us. His people will volunteer freely in that day. Now, these words can't be written by a prophet. A prophet knows different. From the time of Isaiah, those words would not be written by a prophet. These words have to be a scribe, because it can't be a priest. King wouldn't have this written. This has to be a scribe. Priest, scribe, because he's got it wrong. Okay? But he has to be a good scribe, because capital letter, because his words got into the text as a format. But that's going to be the end of Psalm 10, 110. And I've been wrong for the whole time. I've been saying every time I show those verses, I now have to go and get a screenshot of David being told by Nathan his son will be, through his son's seed, the king shall come. Okay, that wasn't too good. Now, I know I've only been going for 33 minutes, but I needed to do that so I can connect these two together. So I'm going to call it quits here for right now.